The WNBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code NBA SGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And make sure you enter the free roll football contest. Up to $3,500 in prizes up for grabs. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll to enter today. Yes, sir. We are back with another edition of the WNBA Gambling Podcast on Sports Gambling Podcast Network. No me, no the voice, no the guy. It's me, really Ro, Villain Ro. Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service. Tuh, huh, huh, tuh, tuh. Oh, it feels good to be back on top. Aces, get it done. I'm telling you, flowchart. Just easily follow the flowchart. What way is the flowchart telling you? Oh, Sun, Aces, Liberty, L. Just lock it in. L. Appreciate the Sun for making it a sweat, though. 72-67 Aces. We face the Collier, 25 plus points, plus 250. Never in doubt. Scott Studio Reichel. Happy NFL Sunday, Scott. What's going on?
Scotty, beat me up.
Surprise.
Can't complain. Didn't sweep, but I did hit the lock. I ended up taking your girl. I took Jordan Canada to have over 5.5 assists, and she had a double-double because it went to overtime. But she got there anyway. I had 5 entering the fourth quarter. I think she finished regulation with 7. So it worked out pretty well, and hopefully ended up backing that with me. But as for the dog, ended up not working out. I ended up not really having many dogs that I actually liked, so I did a 2-pick parlay. Had Caitlin Clark 20+ and Indiana to win. Looked good for a half. I believe they were leading at halftime, and Clark had about 17 at half. But then they fell apart in the second half. So gave it a shot there. Didn't work out, but Clark had a good game, and we kind of tried to give that a run, but they fell apart in the third quarter. So can't complain too much because we're still at the lock, but didn't hit the dog.
And then, yeah. I didn't hit the parlay, though. I hit Aces. I hit Lynx. Was it Lynx or was it Dream? I don't know. It was one or the other. But I hit Sky. McKinney Carter had 15 points. She didn't have 20. That was it. Really big news with that team, but we'll talk about it when we get to that game. We've got 5 games on the NFL slate, so we want to go ahead and get people in and out of here because I know y'all are going to be looking at the NFL as well. So let's just go ahead and get you some quick WNBA picks. But before we do that, got to talk to you about Sports Gambling Podcast Network. NFL's back today, and they're picking every single game against spread like they've done since 2011. Make sure you enter that free roll football contest up to $3,500 in cash up for grabs. Sign up at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll. All right, Scott, 3 p.m. on the East Coast, the Minnesota Lynx are on the road going to play the Washington Mystics. Mystics laying 7.5 here, opened up at 8.5. 161 is the total. Injury report for these two teams, and I got here for the Minnesota Lynx, it looks like nothing to report there. Shakira Austin is questionable to play in this game. Ariel Atkins is not on the injury report. She rolled her ankle in that last game, and it looks like she's fine. She's going to go. Scott, we saw this game back-to-back right after the All-Star break. The Lynx dominated both meetings. Well, the first meeting was competitive until the fourth quarter. Then the Lynx absolutely ran away the second half of the second meeting. What are you doing here, Minnesota Lynx 7?
Yeah, so Washington's been good lately. Shout out to them, though. They have won 5 of their last 6. Randomly might make the playoffs, so shout out to the Mystics for hanging in there.
We do not want Paige Beckers.
Yeah, basically what they said. Point is, though, they've been good lately, but you look at who they've played, and they really haven't played many great teams. Beat the Mercury, who have completely fallen off a cliff. We saw that yesterday against the Storm. They got buried again. Beat the Wings, nice win there. A loss to the Sun, that's expected. Beat the Sky, ended up beating the Storm. That was when the Storm were kind of slumping. So They haven't really played many great teams. The Storm are kind of in no man's land right now, so we'll see if they can build off of that win yesterday against the Mercury. But all those games were also on the road for the most part, so I
Mm-hmm.
do wonder at home. I know you were at the arena, but I do think you're looking at a team that might actually right now be better on the road than at home. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at the Lynx beating them pretty handily in the meetings that we ended up seeing a couple weeks ago. Faced off 3 times. The Lynx are 3-0. They won the last 2 meetings by 11 plus. Think I'm going to have to go with Minnesota. I don't know if I feel great about it, but I do think Minnesota beating them by double digits in both meetings a couple weeks ago is pretty telling to me. I
Mm-hmm.
respect the fact Washington's been winning. Props to them for not rolling over, but they also played some weak competition. And I do think that Minnesota is poised to get whatever seeding they possibly can. They're currently 3 games ahead of the Aces. So basically, one more win, or maybe a couple more wins, clinches them #1 spot in the Western Conference. I'm going to go Minnesota. Thought they looked good against Indiana. We were kind of waiting for them to flip a switch again, and I just don't think the Mystics can keep up with this team. So I'll go with Minnesota. Don't think it's going to be easy. I think it's going to be a pretty close game for the spread purposes until the end. But I think Minnesota finds a way. Give me Minnesota by 10.
Yeah, I'm laying Minnesota here, but I mean, if I'm backing the Mystics, I'm only backing them one way, and that's how I always back them in the first
First
half.
half.
They're
Yeah.
catching 4.5 in the first half here. Uh, I know that for a fact they covered one of those first halves, and I think they actually covered both of them in that back-to-back set, actually. But the Mystics do have something to play for. Like they're right outside of playoffs. Like they're a game back, so it's not like that they don't have something to play for. I just don't think they're talented enough to be able to get it done against this level of competition in Minnesota here. And maybe they make this close. And that's the concern for me taking Minnesota laying the points is that the Mystics are competitive in this game. DC is lit today. I mean, they're not cheering for the Commanders, so they're probably going to the Mystics game and cheering for them there. So yeah, I think that unfortunately this is kind of a tough spot. I really don't want to back the Lynx laying this many points, but I lean that way. But the only way I'm playing this one is Mystics first half. Like I'm not breaking the mold here. I'm playing Mystics first half. 161 is the total. Austin's questionable.
When is she not questionable? Well, sometimes
Hmm.
she's usually just ruled out, actually, so I
Yeah,
take
I
it
was
back.
about to say that's questionable is an upgrade, like significant. She's been I think there's more outs than questionables this year.
Wouldn't shock
I
me.
lean under.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that one. The last meeting was high scoring. Meeting before that was low scoring, so it balanced out. First meeting did go under 160.5. I mean, the Mystics have scored 90 points in back-to-back games, but that was against Phoenix and against Dallas, so maybe I'm expecting a bit of regression there offensively. Same thing with Minnesota, scored 99 against Indiana, but we know Indiana plays fast and doesn't really guard anybody. So, yeah, I could see that. I think I can definitely see Minnesota ending up somewhere in the uh, I'd say 80s, and I'm not sure where the Mystics are going to actually end up. So
Hmm.
it is. I think it's going to be close. Like that's kind of the problem that I have here. But I think I'll lean under. Probably not going to bet it.
All right. Anything prop wise pop out for you in this one?
Well, I'm going to ask you because you ended up backing Collier for an alt line, and she got there. Do you like her points again?
Hmm, potentially.
Okay.
I think
So
it's a little. I think it's a little tougher if Austin's in the game, but if Austin's out, then yeah, full Sid.
yeah, I mentioned this last episode. I'll run it back. Courtney Williams over 16.5 points and assists. She got there against Indiana, had 19. She's had at least 19 PA, sorry, at least 17 PA in 7 of the last 10 and 11 of the last 19. So she has been doing pretty well in that actual prop market. She has gone over this number as well in 3 of the last 4 against Washington. I'll go back to it. Give me Courtney Williams points and assists over 16.5.
Last game she had 4 rebounds, but 4 games prior, Nafisa Collier had 12, 10, 11, and 9. Her rebounds prop is at 8.5 minus 125. Especially if Austin is out and ruled out. Very, very good prop for Nafisa Collier here. I think that just active rebounder, and once Austin's out of the game, like the rebounding for Washington really, really goes down. And you're battling with rookie Aaliyah Edwards most of the time. So yeah, Nafis Collier over 8.5 rebounds. I like that play. Yeah, I'm on Fee today. I like Fee today. Hey, Fee's double is at plus 105. I would play that.
Uh,
Maybe no. The 10 rebounds should be a better price if you
that's
can
why
find
I
the
was
alt.
hesitating there, because if it's 8.5, you probably should be able to get better than plus 105 on the rebounds alone.
Unless that line's starting to move. But yeah, 10 plus rebounds is a nice plus money price. I would play that.
Right.
That's probably gonna be better than the double. It shouldn't be, but it probably is. All right.
If Austin plays, by the way, I'll take the under on Dolson rebounds, but that's only if Austin plays.
Okay. 4 p.m. East Coast. Las Vegas Aces on the road going to play the New York Liberty. Liberty open up laying 3. They're currently laying 5. 169 is the total. Injury report in this one. And, click. There we go. For the New York Liberty, I have nothing to report. No injuries. And same thing for the Aces. Nothing to report. Everybody's expected to go right now. So the Aces need a good game against good competition for just their own morale.
Well, they
But the
beat
Liberty are
Connecticut. They didn't play well for a half, but they got the job done. Does that count?
no, because well, I guess maybe in their heads it
It was
does.
in Connecticut. Like, it was still a good
Yeah,
comeback. They were down 15.
yeah. I just think if they go down to this Liberty team, they're not coming back. Like if they win this, they got to come out the gate like swinging.
Yeah, probably.
Um,
Well, I'll start off with this. You agree with the line at 4.5 and
yeah,
169.5?
100%.
Okay.
100%. I'd actually been. I think I would have hammered Liberty if it was like under one possession. I
Yeah.
definitely would have hammered. Now 5 makes me think about it, but I think I'm still taking the Liberty here, man. I'm just gonna fade. I mean, the Aces do come up big defensively in certain spots, but that was also Connecticut's just like the Liberty. If they go up, they're gonna continue shooting and continue making shots. Connecticut can lose offense so easily. Like they can be hot in the first half, absolutely completely die out in the second half, and that's ultimately ended up what happened. I think the Liberty's offense can stay more consistent if they get going against this Aces team. Aces have been good defensively recently, but that's because they played Atlanta, the Mercury, or the Borons, who can't hit anything.
Mm-hmm.
The Sky, Connecticut. Yeah, I'm taking Liberty -5.
So I think my favorite play for this game is actually the under, which might sound extremely dangerous because of how many weapons both teams have. But yeah, as you said, the Aces have looked better defensively. Offensively, they've kind of been up and down, better recently. But I do think traveling to New York isn't exactly the easiest spot in the world. The Liberty, though, at home have been really good defensively. So to read off the points allowed at home over the last couple of weeks, 70 against Seattle, 72 against Connecticut, 71 against Dallas, 74 against Dallas, 74 against Connecticut,
Mm.
76 against Chicago, 67 against the Lynx, 75 against the Dream. So once again, they've had a bunch of games in a row allowing less than basically like 77 points. So I do like the fact that the Liberty at home have been really good defensively, and I do think they can put the clamps down. We saw that last meeting where the Aces couldn't really hit anything for the last couple quarters. So I like the under in this game. I think the Aces defensively look sharper ever since they kind of moved Gustafson into the starting lineup. But the Liberty at home have been good defensively. I think this total's high. I think that you might end up seeing a bit more of a physical game than the odds makers suggest. That's kind of what we saw in the last
Mm-hmm.
meeting, where you saw both teams kind of go at it
Mm-hmm.
physically, and the game flew under. I'll go under in this game. I think that this total's a bit high. I think that you're going to see a bit more of a playoff atmosphere slugfest. 4.5, I'll probably stay away from. I don't really have much interest in the side personally because the Aces have played better lately. But I'm going to go with the under instead. Total feels a bit high to me.
Very much. I feel like Aces, at least after what you explained with the numbers at home, Aces team total of 82.5 feels way too high. They haven't. When's the last time the Liberty gave up 80 at home?
They gave up 88 to the Sparks on June 22nd. So it's been basically 2+ months since they've allowed 80+ points at home.
Well, when you put it like that, Scott Studio Reichel, yeah, Aces team total under 82.5. I like the under too. Nice job, Scott.
Thanks. I mean, it's only a nice job if it wins. So appreciate it.
Nah,
I might have just
no,
completely
but I was
sabotaged
actually
it, but
leaning. It's funny because I was actually kind of leaning over. Like I was leaning over. But when you put it like that, like how do
I
you
just think
not?
the Liberty at home just defensively are underrated. So I'll go with that.
And they held the Aces to 67 on the road.
Mhm.
So
No, they're a good defensive team at home as
yeah.
well.
All right. Player props.
Is it just a star game? You're just picking the stars to show up?
No, because I don't like they defend Asia really well.
Yeah,
They
they do.
defend Asia really well at times. There's sometimes that she just goes into god mode and just absolutely destroys whoever. But there's other times like I know when I went to the game in Brooklyn, I think she was like some 1 for 10, 2 points, something like that. Like they was like really giving her the business. So but you know who always does play well? She was hot that day, even though they was getting run out the gym. Jackie Young. What's Jackie Young's game log against the Liberty? I remember
Oh,
that game. Jackie was going crazy, and I was just saying, I'm like, yo, we're beating their ass, but Jackie is going insane. Let me
so the two
see.
meetings this season, Jackie has not been great. She had
Uh
4-4-3 in the last meeting, and she had 10-6 in the
huh.
previous meeting. So she had 25. Or I should say she had 16.7 assists in the last meeting from last year in the finals, the game that they ended up winning the title in. But for the most part, she hasn't been underwhelming. She's had a less than 19 PRA in 3 of the last 4 meetings, and her line's at
Mm-hmm.
23.5.
All right, this is the line. This is the play that I got. Jackie Young over 1.5 threes minus 120. You
Okay.
look at her history versus, and they played a lot of games in the past 2 years. She is been over this line in all but 2 games. That's 9 out of 11. She's hit at least 2 3-pointers against this team. Last game she didn't hit one. Uh, it was like 3 games ago she didn't hit one. She's always bounced back with a pretty solid game. She's been and like I said, the shooting's been really good, and that's probably where they're gonna need the outside shooting to try to keep up with this team. So I'm cool with Jackie Young. She's been over this 56% of the time this season. This could be a very good spot for her just to be able to hit a couple threes. They're gonna need the volume at this point because, like you said, I think they're gonna struggle defensively. So if there's somebody I can get behind, it's that Jackie Young threes problem.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about who's had success against this Aces team, I got to mention Sabrina because Sabrina's been very solid against this team over the last couple of years. For
Mm-hmm.
threes, for example, I mean, it's at 2.5 now at minus 172, which sucks. But the point is, she tends to light this team up from 3. I thought about the first quarter points under though because they're at 6.5, which just feels massive to me. And she has
Mm-hmm.
gone under this number in 4 of the last 5 games in general. Gone under this number in 5 of the last 6 against the Aces. The problem was the last meeting, the most recent one, she had 12 in the first quarter. So
Mm-hmm.
she did have a monster game there, but 6.5, I just feel like it's a massive number in the WNBA for a guard for first quarter points. Unless you're just going to have the endless, I don't know, Jewel Lloyd green light, you're just going to shoot the ball like
Yeah,
8
I
times in the
mean,
first quarter.
Sabrina come in the first quarter and shoot
She
two
can. That's what I'm
threes.
saying. Six and
Yeah,
a
shoot a
half
couple
though
threes.
does feel pretty large to me. I think I'll have to lean under on principle for that one. John
Mm-hmm.
Quell though has been great against the Aces this season, so I feel like I have to at least ask if you want to back her in some capacity. Think I might need John Quell rebounds in this game. Her rebounds are at 9.5. She had 17 in the last game. She had 8 in the first meeting this season, but the point is, I do think that with her rebounding in general, we mentioned before, Asia's stats are usually not the greatest against the Liberty, and we do like the under just based on overall defensive potential for these teams. I think I have to like John Quell rebounds at 9.5. 17 in the last meeting, I feel like just too much to ignore. Now, rebounding wise, recently she has not been that great, I'll admit it, but she has been playing basically 29 minutes in all these games, so I do think that she's in a good spot. Give me John Quell to show up against the Aces again.
All right.
At least for rebounding. Maybe not for points, but for rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
So,
All right. Underdog Fantasy. Fantasy Pick'em gives you a chance to win 1,000 times your entry. You can, hey, it's NFL Sunday. You can tap in with some. You could take some of our, favorite stats in the WNBA, mix them with your favorite stats in the NFL, and go get you 1,000 times your entry lineup. Look, You can do all that. We're going to drop an underdog lineup, so you can go and drop it with your favorite NFL plays. You can do that. So sign up with promo code NBA SGPN. That's NBA SGPN. Claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code NBA SGPN. All right. Let's keep this train moving. Next game up on the slate. Appreciate the love, Danny. Hutch, yeah, Jackie does look a little off during the break, but I'm telling you, it's the stock market. Her points down to 13.5 is actually insane for Jackie Young, who's, at one point averaged 20 in the league. So might be a chance to buy because she can have a 14-point game and you still think she didn't look right, but
Yeah, you can buy low on that number.
I think that's a buy low. All right, Indiana Fever lay at 5.5 at home. Open up at 6. Lay at 5.5 now. Oh, at home against the Atlanta Dream. Total sitting at 169.5. Injury report. And we have same for the Atlanta Dream. Nothing for the Indiana Fever. All right. We saw this matchup a couple weeks ago, I think it was. Yeah, a couple weeks ago. Indiana has won all 3 meetings this season, 91-84, 91-72 on the road, 79, I'm sorry, 91-79 on the road, 84-79 on the road, back here in Indiana. However, this is the second time, because I think they were that last game. Yeah, Indiana was a 1.5 point favorite last game, and they were a 3-point favorite. Oh, that was with Ryan Howard though. That first game in Atlanta, so that's why they were a 3-point favorite. But for the most part, this is the first time with heavy expectations of Indiana covering the spread here. You got Dream plus 450. That Dream plus 450 ticket to make the playoffs looks a lot better now, Scott.
I mean, after they ended up beating the Wings, it looks a lot better, but damn, the Wings are terrible. How the hell do you lose that game? What are they up, 19 in that game?
Went to overtime, won it, and then got killed in overtime.
Just in general, though, I think they were up 19 in that game, and they completely just fell apart. But, I mean, I'm not complaining. Shout out to John Canada for giving me the assist, but that's a game Dallas kind of needs to win. I know you had action on both Atlanta and the Wings to, perform better in the second half, but the Wings blew a 16-point lead in that game. Like, that just sums up everything we hate about this team for the entire season. But props to Atlanta. They didn't roll over. They came back, got the job done. Indiana ended up losing to Minnesota. They looked good for a half, and then Minnesota was just better.
Completely died in the second half.
They died. Collier just took over the game, and they couldn't score. It just is what it is. So I do want to ask you, because the last meeting we saw was close as Indiana won by 5, but not really, because I believe Indiana was up by a ton in that game.
Yeah.
And then fell apart.
They let them come back. Alicia Gray got hurt, and she ended up missing the last quarter and a half or something like that of that game. Or the last fourth quarter, majority of the fourth quarter, I think it is, when she got hurt and she was out for the rest of the game. And it looked like they couldn't buy a shot. Like, they couldn't buy a bucket. Indiana let them in that game, and the Dream could have gone out there, got a win, and looked really, really good. They just couldn't buy a bucket. But, like, Alicia Gray's back, playing a full game. This game was competitive. Atlanta needs the playoff spot. Indiana's already locked up the playoff spot. Like, at some point, it's just kind of like, it's really not even I guess maybe seeding, but like there's definitely way more motivation for Atlanta here to play
I can
well.
definitely tell you that Indiana does not care about seeding when they haven't made the playoffs in like 5 years.
Like,
I'm sure they're just happy to be there. I think it matters.
I mean,
but and
maybe that would have been a really good angle. Well, I mean, I took Minnesota anyway, but like Indiana doesn't need these games. Like, they really don't. This is just, hey, let's finish the season strong. Let's keep the offense flowing, keep everybody in rhythm, and let's continue to try to win basketball games. But like, Atlanta is do or die mode. Like, it's literally do or die here.
I do want to point out, by the way, that in the last meeting, Indiana did lead by 18. And I do want to ask you a question. Do you know what the largest lead was for Atlanta in that game?
2.
The answer was 0. They never led in the entire game.
I thought it was like an early bucket.
No, 0. That's kind of my point, is that even though Indiana did win by 5, they were destroying this team for about 90%, and then kind of fell apart in the fourth quarter. So the problem is Indiana really they just don't win by margin. If you're going through the last
Yeah.
couple of wins here, they beat the Sparks by 7. Congrats, I guess. That counts, I guess. Beat the Wings by 7. Beat the Sky by 19, but we know Kennedy Carter didn't play in that game. Sun by 4. Dream by 5. They've had a lot of close games lately, which is kind of tricky. I think I'd rather take the over if I had to go for an actual
I see a
angle.
6.5 at Caesars. I would take that.
I would probably take the 6.5 for Atlanta, but I think I'm going to lean over. I mean, you mentioned Alicia Gray got injured in the last meeting, which is kind of why the Dream offensively shut down for a decent portion of that game. I can see points here. I think Atlanta's going to want to run. I think Indiana's going to want to run. Find it telling, though, that the last meeting ended up landing 163, and this totals at basically 170. So I'll go with the over on this game. I think you'll see some points. The Fever have scored a 91 on the dot in 2 of the 3 meetings, so maybe Indiana team total if you think they're going to be able to wake up. But I prefer player props in this game, but give me points. I'll go with the over.
All right. I like points too. I do. I like points. Atlanta team total over. I'm sorry. I like points. Atlanta team total over for sure. Player props. Dog, Ryan Howard's been playing. What does Ryan Howard's last 5 games look like? I feel like there's 2 30-point games in that stretch.
They're not Asia Wilson good, but they're still solid.
Yeah, like Ryan Howard's been going freaking insane, man. Let's go. Let's look at here. All right, last 5 games for Ryan. Yeah, I knew I wasn't tripping. Back-to-back 30-point games, 33 against Dallas, 31 against Phoenix. She had 19 the game before that against the Sparks. Props currently sitting at 18.5. She's been over this in 1-on-1 against Indiana this season. I think that last game is the one that I backed her for this prop, and she couldn't hit anything. 26 in the game before that. Looking before that, and she hit 17, 24, 21, 23. I'm going to go the same Howard as, not Howard, but I am going with Ryan Howard. I'm going to go with the same handicap as I went last time and just say Ryan Howard just constantly gets to her spot. She's been shooting the ball from 3 way better since that game. And I'm gonna just continue to keep backing her. She's been really well. Now they moved her 3-point prop up to 3.5 at plus money. I can't take it now. So
Yeah,
I'm going back
that's
to the
unfortunate.
points. I'm taking the points at 18.5.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I'm trying to wonder if I want to go for Alicia Gray 3s at 1.5. It's at minus 136. She's had at least 2 made 3-pointers in 7 of the last 8 games. Against Indiana this season, she has had at least 2 made 3s in each of the last 2 meetings. Had 3 in the game back in August. So, yeah, give me Alicia Gray over 3s. We know Indiana, despite being a better team based on how the season has gone on, still can't guard the 3-point line. Second most 3-pointers allowed in the league per game. So give me Alicia Gray over 1.5 threes.
All right. Tina Charles, really good matchup. Been cooking last 2 games against India. Well, that first game she had 2 points. Since then, 24 and 28.
Not rebounding wise though, only points, which is kind of fascinating.
Yeah. Aaliyah Boston for the rebounds. I mean, that sounds. And really it hasn't been like too many rebounds, but look at Aaliyah Boston. She's had at least 10 rebounds in the past. In the past 3 games against the Atlanta Dream. It's just tough because they now moved her from 9.5 to 10.5, and that's kind of marked where I'm like, I like it when she gets a couple of 8s, comes back down to 9.5, and then we hammer her at 9.5.
Yeah.
But that's the outlook there. But she does cook with the points too. She had, what was it? I think she had a 20-point against this Dream team. Yeah, earlier in the season she had 27. Since then she had 10 and 14 against them, so kind of cooled off there, but potential's there.
I think I might actually like Caitlin Clark points at 20.5. Now I will point out she has gone under this number in all 3 games against the Dream, but she has gotten better with each game. Had 7 in the first game, 16 in the second, 19 in the third. But she only took 14 shots in the last meeting. In fact, she's had less than 15 shot attempts in all 3 meetings. But you're going through her actual numbers recently. She's had at least 24 in 4 straight, at least 23 in 8 of the last 10. Big reason, shot volume. She's had at least 17 shot attempts in 3 straight games. Had 21 in the last game against Minnesota. So I do like the volume that Clark's been getting, and she has been scoring pretty easily lately. Give me the over 20.5 at minus 108.
All right. Before we get to the next game of Slate, got to talk to you about rhythm. Look, hey, go in there, Get the NFL models, get your WNBA models, get everything going, get in the Rhythm Lab, and go cash some bets. Like, there's a whole bunch. Look, they post on Rhythm's X about all the winners that they have in college football. You gotta go back them. You gotta go back them. Like, why are you missing out on this opportunity to go out there and just get a bunch of really, really nice free wins? Hey, we talked about the under in the Minnesota Lynx and missed this game. Rhythm likes that. They think 158 is the line, and they have it at a 60.5% win probability. So look, go tap in the Rhythm. Go tap in. Figure it out. That's the place to be. Rhythm. Hey, 7-day free trial, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And we're also brought to you by Game Time. Make sure you go get the tickets without the stress with Game Time, because you can get your WNBA tickets, your WWE tickets, your NFL tickets, any sporting league, concert, all that stuff. It's there in the Game Time app. They have flash deals, they have zone deals, they have last minute tickets, they everything. And if you find a ticket in your row section that was more than what you paid at Game Time, they will credit you 110% the difference. So go ahead, use that promo code SGPN at Game Time, get $20 off your first purchase. That's download Game Time app, create an account, and use code SGPN to get $20 off. Game Time, last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, next up, 2 games left. The Dallas Wings are on the road going to play Chicago Sky. Chicago's catching 4.5 at home. The Wings are a favorite yet again. 170.5 is total. Injury report, and this one is a doozy because, well, let's start with the Dallas Wings side of the ball. And for the Dallas Wings, I have here nobody. Well, Stephanie Suarez is out, but she's been out for a while. That's it. For the Chicago Sky, Angel Reese announced yesterday that she is now out for the season with the wrist injury.
What a shame.
That's tough. That is tough.
Even if you don't like her as a player, her rebounding props have been too good to us. It's a shame.
Yeah, like that's tough. That goes in the Raptors. Like, her rebound prop, that was all season. All season.
It opened up at like 7.5 or 8.5 when the season started. We were at like 14.
All
season. It was crazy.
And she was still hitting 14.5.
Yeah. It's an all-time great prop for the sake of any season in any sport. I mean, it was crazy how often she was going over
in the jersey, in the rafters, for sure. All right. Well,
I know you're pivoting to Cardoso because she's going to be out. So,
well, actually, I actually don't like Cardoso this game.
Really? Okay, that's surprising.
I mean, you got to think about it. Tierra McGowan 6'7", Kalani Brown 6'7". Like, that really, the 6'7" really, stole. Like, it was just Angel Reese was an absolute dog, so it didn't matter how much taller you were than her. Like, your jump was not faster than her jump, and she was getting to the ball before you were, despite your height. And Camilla's not as good as a rebounder. I will admit that. Camilla is a good rebounder, just not as good. And so the height thing really gives Camilla a leg up, but you lose that with Tierra McGowan, with Kalani Brown, and then you add that Natasha Howard is also a dog who also has a very, very quick first jump. I'm not going to play it this game, but I'm going to play it next game. I didn't realize that they were playing the Wings, so I'm not going to play it this game. However, I'm not laying points with the Wings here.
Is it because they blew a 16-point lead in their last game and you can't trust them at all?
Yeah, partially that, and the fact that I think that the offense actually does go up with Angel Reese out, because Isabel Harrison is still a really, really good basketball player. She just kind of accepted the role that she had in this team, and now she's going to be moving into the starting lineup in a revenge game against Dallas, no less. And Dallas not playing any defense. This could be the Izzy coming out party.
Could be.
Like, if Izzy finishes game with 15-8, 15-7, maybe even more, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I think Kenny Carter's still going to have a really good game. They don't have anything that's going to stop her. I mean, clearly I'm on the over here, Scott. Over 170.5. Like, that's the play. I think
that's the play too. Yeah.
I might lock that up. That's the play. But I think, Dallas has been favored, twice this season? 3 times? No, 4, because they were favored early in the season. So, but since recent, the times that they've been favored, it hasn't been good, even with
No.
injuries. I'm good. I have that 10.5 wins. I'm just gonna sit on that, but I like the Sky for the game.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree with you, especially at home. I know the Sky aren't a good home team, but they're going for that playoff spot. The fact that Carter came back does give a boost. It also kind of means I have to toss out the Sky's performances for the last couple of weeks or
Mm-hmm.
last week or two, because we know without Carter, I think this might be the worst team in the league. But
Mm-hmm.
she's just that good. So I think you're looking at a spot where the Sky at home should be able to look sharper. So I think that they have some value at +4.5. They might win the game. I do think for props, though, I am tempted by McCown. If I want to go for rebounds, it's at 9.5. Nice to see her return to form. I know that she ended up cashing a prop for me a couple of episodes ago, but she has had 11 plus rebounds in 6 straight. Her line's at 9.5, so I do appreciate her recent performance. If you want to go for her double-double in this game, you can find the double-double at +160. That I like. I like +160 on McCown double-double. I think there's some value on that. If you
Mm-hmm.
want to talk about rebounds for Cardoso for reference, is at 10.5. That's a bit high for me. I think I'll probably lean under
Nah.
there.
Yeah.
She might get there, but
I just
10.5 is
think this
asking a
is the.
lot.
I just don't think this is the matchup. Like all the bodies, this isn't the one that I'm gonna hammer Camilla. What's the next game for the Sky? Let me just look at that real quick. The
I don't
Sky
have that in front of me.
play on Wednesday. They play the Mystics. Like, okay, I don't care who, whether, even if Austin is playing. The Mystics is a game where I will hammer and probably have a ladder going on Camilla rebounds. For sure.
Yeah, I think I'm also tempted by Enrique, probably RA in this matchup. It's at
Mm-hmm.
about, let me see the exact number here. I mean, it's at 10.5, though, which is pretty high, but I can understand it. Trying to think if there's anything else I'm really tempted by for this matchup. I don't know if I really am. I kind of want to see how the Sky look
Man,
without Angel Reese.
Kenny Carter over on points.
I wanted her rebounds. They're at 4.5 now because she had 9 in the last game. So now they bumped it from 3.5 to 4.5. I've been taking Carter rebounds the entire past couple weeks, but I don't mind Carter points. I think that she should be able to light it up against this team.
Yeah, she's gonna cook them.
She should.
Yeah, like they don't have any nothing interior that scares you right now. Like, yeah, they have 6, 7 giants that she's just not afraid of. Uh, where's my trusty duddy? Yeah. So, and then the fact, like, even though Reese is not there, one, the offensive rebounds is gonna be frustrating. Not getting those offensive rebounds, but she was also like she was still averaging a double. Like there's point
Mhm.
that's 10 extra points that's not accounted for that somebody's gonna have to make up for. And so yeah, I think Kenny Carter's gonna just the leadership she has of this team, it just feels like when a leader like Angel Reese, who was even as a rookie on this team, goes down, the others step up. So I could see somebody like a Kenny Carter stepping up. I doubt Izzy has any props available because this WNBA doesn't know what Izzy was like as a starter. And
Yeah.
so that's really that like if they were even dare to drop a Izzy prop, I would take it. Like this WNBA does not know what Izzy was like as a starter, and if she gets back to that form in this game starting, oh, that's dangerous. That is dangerous, and I think, yeah, I love points. I love points. That's over 170.5, and I'm just gonna. I may not know exactly who. Well, I like Satu too. I think Satu
Well,
might be
I
the
think
guy.
that's the segue I was going to make. Is I actually do like Satu assists at 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
She's had at least 5 assists in 4 of the last 5, and she had 8 in the last game against the
Played it last
Sky.
time.
I mean, I'm saying that was not this year, but she had 8 in the last meeting. So
Yeah.
she does perform well against this team. 4.5 is pretty low, and I think Enrique's number makes sense at 10.5 rebounds and assists. Starting to get to a territory I don't want to go to, so I think I'll pivot. I'll give me Satu assists at 4.5.
Yep. Love it. All right. Next game, last game up. Connecticut Sun on the road going to play the Los Angeles Sparks. Sun open up laying 8.5. They're currently laying 10.5. 160.5 is total. Injury report here for this Connecticut Sun team. Tiffany Mitchell still out with an illness. Ari McDonald's questionable for the Sparks. Laisha Clarendon is out. Lexi Brown still out. This is a Odyssey Sims revenge game.
I mean, somebody's going to have to shoot for this team. Might not go in, but somebody's going to have to shoot.
Man, this is pretty easy. Flowchart. Sparks. Are the Sparks catching double digits? Yes. You take Sparks.
I do want to point out they faced off 2 times this season. both teams, the Sun were a threat to potentially blow the game open. But they ended up winning the game by 9 the first time and 8 the second time. So the Sun have actually not covered this number against the Sparks by winning both games. I see a similar story here. I don't really tend to have the team that has a hard time scoring on a regular basis. So I think Connecticut bounces back after choking away that game against the Aces, but you could argue that maybe mentally that might carry over in a negative way because that was a game they probably should have won. They play the Sparks back-to-back games, so if you want to go for the deja vu angle, you can. But I'll go with the Sparks for this one plus the points.
Oh, it's back-to-back? It's a back-to-back?
Yeah, it's back-to-back in LA, so no travel involved. So
yeah, take the dog the first one. You getting 10 now. Sparks 12-3. ATS as a dog 80%. The Suns 2-5, 28.6% as a favorite of 10 or more. Like, just close your eyes, bet the Sparks, and live with the results.
I like the under in this game though at 160.5. I think that line's too high. I get the argument as the Sparks aren't a great defensive team, but the meetings this season have been rock fights. First meeting landed 149, second meeting landed 130, and the total's at 160.5. I mean, you mentioned McDonald might not play. I mean, Lexi Brown and Clarendon are out. How many scoring options does this team actually have? I know that you're looking at Sims, who should be in line for a better game, and I know that she's a threat. Jackson has been recently okay. I mean, she had 17 points against the Sky. She's been pretty solid lately, actually.
No,
but
she's been really good.
Hamby's, I feel like, has not been that great. She was good last game against the Sky, but I do think rebounding-wise, she's kind of fallen off a cliff. I don't know. I just wonder if you think this total's too high because we know Connecticut plays slow. And based on the head-to-head history, this total does feel pretty high.
Yeah, but I can't take an under with the Sparks right now. That's just me. Looking at the Sparks' last 5 games, they gave up 92 to Chicago.
Yeah, a lot.
92 to Chicago, 93 to Indiana, 80 to the Dream, 88 in a win, 88 to the Liberty, and then the 113 they gave up in that crazy game against Dallas. Like I'm good. I'm good. I'm not gonna play the total because I see both sides, and I can see where this could be a rock fight, but I also could see where the Sparks could just be a horrible basketball team and let this blow open. And Connecticut has a really good offensive day, which they need, by the way, for their own confidence. But and it's a lot. I think there's more options than you're giving the Sparks credit for.
No, as I was reading it off, they've actually had some good showings. But I'm pointing out though, just based on Connecticut's reputation defensively, I mean they put the clamps down the Aces for about 2.5 quarters of that game. I just think that this total feels a bit high based on the Sparks' tendency to kind of struggle against good teams.
And this is Kurt Miller going up against his old team. He's coached them up well against them all season. They played well against them all season. I get it. I understand the path for the under. I do. I'm just gonna stick with Sparks though. Until Connecticut proves that they can cover the number, I'm gonna make them prove it to me. Player props.
I think I want Hamby unders, but I got to figure out which one I want because the rebounds have actually been okay against Connecticut. She ended up having 9+ rebounds in 2 of the last 4. She ended up having 5 rebounds the first meeting, 10 in the second meeting. Then there was some stat padding involved though for that second game. But the PRA have gone way under against Connecticut. She's had a less than 26 PRA in her last 5 meetings against this team, and her line's at 27.5. The problem is she's gone over regularly with this number over the last couple weeks. So I'm kind of have to figure out which one I want, but I think I'm going to have to go with the under for Hamby because I just said I think Connecticut plays well defensively. So I can see them playing well against Hamby. Give me Hamby under PRA, maybe under rebounds. Rebounds have not been good lately, and a big reason for that is Azare now in the lineup, and we know Reichel can rebound. But I just think Hamby's rebounds are a bit high here. I'll go with the under at 8.5.
All right. I will take Reichel over. I see 19 is the line.
Okay.
No, just give me the points and rebounds at 17.5. There we go. That's more accessible. Give me the points and rebounds at 17.5. I was looking at PRA, but I'll just take the points and rebounds at 17.5. She's been over this in the more recent game, the first game she really wasn't getting minutes like that, and she still got the 17. This most recent game, she got the 20 on the rebounds and assists. You look at her last 5 games, she's been over this in 3 of the last 5, 7 of the last 10. Rakia's been on an absolute heat streak, and they're starting to make her the number one option. Like that's where I said that she should be at the beginning of the season, and it takes time for rookies to develop. Everybody's just not come out quick out of the gate, and you got to have the trust in them to give them the minutes to let them even show you that. Now she's getting the minutes. Now she's got the trust. Now she's got the offense. Like I'm rolling with Rakia Jackson still. Give me over 17.5 points and rebounds.
Okay.
And then for sure, Odyssey Sims, points and assists. Not even. There's no question there for me. They're scary for not having her prop out right now. That's actually what. Why would you not have? She's been starting for like the past week, 2 weeks. Like why would you not have? That's whatever. Because they know I was killing them with Odyssey Sims. Whenever they drop Odyssey Sims prop, take it. All right. Lock, dog, underdog, and let's get out of here. For my lock, over in the Chicago Sky and Dallas Wings, over 170.5. I didn't even think about that at all. For my dog, how much do I trust the Dream? I don't think I trust them that much. I just don't want to get ahead of that buzzsaw that is Indiana. All right. I am going with... I'm just going to go with Ryan Howard again. Ryan Howard's been hot. What's Ryan Howard for... What's her points ladder look like? Or should I go Gray? Because Ryan's been hot, and then I bet Ryan, and then Gray goes off.
I don't know. You might be overthinking it.
I don't know, bro, because it happens a lot. You did say you like Gray 1.5 threes, and I do like that too.
It's a pretty cheap number.
One more 3 puts us at plus 230, and Ryan is at 3.5 now. That's it. Stock market. Ryan went up, Gray went down. Come back in the middle. Give me Alicia Gray. In my head, that might not make sense to people listening to this, but in my head, that made a whole bunch of sense. And it's enough that I'm about to put a bet in on Alicia Gray. 3 plus 3 is at plus 230. Let's go, Scott.
All right. So for my lock, I think I am going to go with a player prop. I am going to go with Courtney Williams. I'm going to go with the points, though. Just give me the default points here at 11.5, at about minus 110 on FanDuel. She has had at least 13 points in 7 of the last 9 games. So she actually has been performing very well offensively. And against this team, she's had at least 13 points in 4 straight. One of the Mystics offensively are not that great. We thought they'd be better. They've had some injuries, is what it is. But Williams has gone over this number in 4 straight head-to-head meetings, including all 3 meetings of the season. It doesn't seem like the Mystics can actually guard her. So give me Courtney Williams, who's kind of had underrated usage offensively over the last couple of weeks, especially for points. So give me Courtney Williams over 11.5 points as my lock. For my dog, I mean, there are a couple options that I could go with, but I think the Sky are pretty live to win this game, actually, just based on the Wings being absolute psychopaths and not being able to guard anybody. So I think for this matchup, I might actually go for a player performance double for this one. I think we'd agree that if the Sky were going to win, they probably need Carter to drop 20+. Do we agree on that?
Yes, sir.
So I'm looking to see if I can get a performance double, or I might have to build it myself. For the 20+ points, you can get Carter at minus 145. You throw that in with the Sky money line, you get plus 235. So give me Carter 20+ and Sky money line at plus 235.
Scott Studio Reichel. Oh,
I mean, I can't pick the Wings to win a game if you just blow a 16-point lead in your last game. I can't do it.
I know, and it's so crazy because they're so close to 10.5, but it feels like they're also so far.
Yeah, I'm hoping the Sky without Reese at least put together a good effort.
Hey, it's the immediate game after the star goes down. You get up,
other players step up,
and then you look like shit after.
Yeah, pretty much. But the Wings are a team that we can't trust, and Carter, I think, should have a good matchup. So, yeah, give me Carter 20+ and the Sky money line at plus 235.
All right, underdog. Mm,
You want to do Gray regular threes?
yeah.
A 1.5.
Oh, by the way, that's what I meant to say. She had 3+3s in 3 of the last 7
Okay.
against the Fever.
And what was the
So
price
for
on that
plus
again?
230, 3 the last
230. Yeah,
7?
it's a good deal.
Yeah. All right. So Alicia Gray, it's 0.91. That's not bad. We can do
No, that's fine.
0.91. It's when they get to 0.8. That's when I'd be like, all right, bro.
Yeah.
All right, 0.91, 1.5 3-pointers made for Alicia Gray. Higher.
I mean,
For
I mentioned Courtney Williams. I don't know if you want to run that back. You want to go elsewhere.
well, what was it again? The
I just had
points?
11.5 points.
Let me see. There we go. Higher. Courtney Williams, 11.5 points. And then we close out with. Let's go Kennedy. No, you did that as your dog. Let's not do. Let's go Rakia. Let's throw Rakia in the car because Rakia deserves it. She's been
What
playing
is that,
really
like
well.
13.5?
I got the point. I want to do the points and rebounds at 17
Oh,
and a
okay.
half.
That's fine.
Yeah. Or maybe we should do just 13 and a half. Because
No,
there
no,
is
we
some
no, we
dedicated.
can throw in rebounds because Rakia has
Rebounds?
had 6+ rebounds in both meetings this season
Okay, cool.
against
So, all
Connecticut. So
right. There it is. Rakia Jackson, higher 17 and a half points and rebounds. Courtney Williams, higher 11 and a half points. Alicia Gray, higher 1.5 3-pointers made. That gets us to 0.5. Oh, excuse me, 5.46x. $100 gets you $546. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN at Underdog Fantasy.
I might actually play that, by the way, the regular 3.5, because her numbers are actually good. She
Yeah.
has had at least 4 rebounds in 12 of the last 20. Both meetings of the season, 7 rebounds against Connecticut, 6 rebounds against Connecticut. So it's actually a pretty good matchup.
For the parlay, Chicago +4. For sure.
Yeah.
Not laying the points there. We'll take the points with Atlanta 2 +5.5. And then cherry on top, Mystics first half.
All right. Sounds good to me.
Gets you about +590. What? You guys are insane. 6-1. There we go. Chicago +4. Atlanta +5.5. The Mystics first half spread. All right. Scott, anything else for people before we get up out of here?
No. Once again, we got football, in case you didn't notice, starting in a couple hours. So try to get this out early, and hopefully you end up enjoying both
Hey, yeah.
sports on different TVs. You might want to stack up on a different TV as well. Maybe one WNBA, maybe one on football, Red Zone. I'm assuming most people
Yeah,
watch Red Zone at this point.
If you got one TV on Red Zone and one TV on WNBA, that's the move.
I do want to ask you, by the way, how do you watch your NFL? Do you watch Red Zone only, or do you actually have games going on?
So it depends where I'm at. If I'm at my homeboy crib, he has YouTube TV with the package up there.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if that's like a thing anymore still. But whatever, he's got the package up there on YouTube TV, so you can make your own quad box, and we'll
Yeah.
go and we'll make our own quad box and watch whatever we have something on. But if I'm dolo, then yeah, I just go one on the computer, one on the TV, maybe if I have another TV, another one up there, and then I'll just interchange whenever.
I usually have a game on the TV, and I have the Russian link for Red Zone, so I just use the Russian link. So
The Russian link for Red Zone is
yeah,
diabolical.
I'm just being
That's
honest, man.
diabolical. Red Zone is already slow, so if you're using the Russian link plus Red Zone, you're like 10 minutes behind
The
what
point is, I'm
happened in
still
the
watching the
game.
games, but I still want Red Zone for fantasy purposes and for
Yeah,
player props and stuff. So it's better to get it late than never, as far as I'm
yeah,
concerned. But
yeah. I know, I get it. I'm weak. The Russian link for Red Zone is diabolical.
yeah,
All right, Scott. What are they doing? What are they doing? They're giving us a follow. He's at Reichel Radio. I'm at ___. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube stream before you get up out of here, and give us a rate and review wherever you get your podcast. Other than that, enjoy WNBA Sunday, enjoy NFL Sunday, and yeah, that's it. I have nothing else to say, nothing else to do. No other way of ending the podcast. Just to end it like this. We are out of here.